We're going to go ahead and get started in here. First and foremost, thanks everybody for coming out. We know, given the situation, the changing landscape and the environment that we all work in, there's a number of things going on, so we appreciate everybody's time for being out here first and foremost. Welcome to the fireside chat today. My name is Stephen McElwee. I'm Vice President of Sales and Engineering at CACI IDT. Today we have a wonderful program kind of put together where we're really going to focus on the conversation around kind of service delivery and modernizing IT government, what we can do around the ServiceNow platform to make things more efficient, more cost effective, and most importantly, kind of to support the customer engagement and their needs across the board. So today I'm joined by a number of people from CACI that are very close to a number of programs. They're on the front lines day in and day out around dealing with the platform, managing expectations in some cases, improving efficiencies, trying to have the AI discussion, pointing people in the right direction. So on the end here, we have Ms. Serenity Paez. She is a vice president at CACI. We have Mr. John Pack. John, what are you, program manager?
Program director.
Program director. And Chris Jones, he is a program manager at CACI. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're obviously excited to be here. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of start by highlighting the challenges and the successes that we've had. Many of you work across the federal landscape. You're in charge of a number of different initiatives from a program perspective and dealing with those sorts of things. So how has your team tackled challenges while working to unify IT operations and enhance service management?
I'll take that one. Our federal customer, as many of you probably have, your federal customers in similar situations where they're extremely siloed across IT operations. That silo has led to probably very isolated services, tools, you name it, all those things. So our federal customer was no different. We face the same challenges. They face the same challenges there, but they're coming to us for some of these solutions to consolidate where they can. So first things first, they have their challenges in trying to consolidate where they can. They definitely have their own blockers to work with. We had the challenge from the IT operations and tools perspective as well. So we've analyzed many of the different offerings that they had across the different contractors in that landscape, along with sub-agencies that report to this federal agency. I'm being very generic here on purpose. So while we saw the opportunities to consolidate there, making recommendations and such, and that's where ServiceNow also comes in, right? Allowing them to consolidate, ingest, and taking some of those legacy tools on the enterprise IT side of things, but also utilizing ServiceNow to be able to consolidate some of those as well and bring those together. So one such thing that happened there was, especially from the ITSM perspective, going from the contractor-owned instances and moving it more toward the government platform as well, helping with that, in addition to really consolidating some of those ITSM services, particularly with the service desk and end-user support. In addition to that, the migrations that they were also performing from some of the sub-agencies also were taking place. So that was even a better opportunity, even more of an opportunity to help them, hey, you can save some money by doing this, consolidating some of these services. And by the way, we can also help you integrate your legacy tools and ServiceNow instances into the main federal agencies' systems. So with all that, helping them save $1 million at least in O&M support after that. And then from there, with those consolidated services all under that tools and ServiceNow, they were able to now bring more offerings, commoditizing some of those services to their end user base as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that, John. Obviously, you guys have been able to do a large consolidation effort, try to remove certain silos across things by centralizing on a given platform or system of record. and driving that forward. Now, obviously, amongst the ServiceNow ecosystem and the conversation we have with our customers, those entry-level conversations are sort of becoming some of the lower hanging fruit, if you will. That's a great place to start, but then as the customer starts to go along their journey in ITSM, the conversations become more complicated and you start to cue in on different things. So I want to dive a little bit deeper and talk about how ITSM has helped kind of drive automation, modernization, and save value.
Sure. Once we got them into the mode of getting started with the basics and the foundation of ServiceNow, now we were really tackling what else in the ITSM suite. So we were really in a prime position to help them grow from that. So an easy one to start off with was their portal, consolidating their portal, service catalog, and especially the knowledge base, knowledge management as well. So putting all that together for them, that really helped drive a lot of the call volume towards self-service, putting a heavy concentration on the knowledge management through the portal as well, using ServiceNow. So a lot of the self-service articles that were out there helped drive a lot of that down. I mean, this is all things that I know you all have heard before, but we got to really see that and help the customer see that, especially driving their calls down by 25%. So now we're talking about, as we're measuring the engagements for all of those knowledge articles, we're talking at least over 10,000 per month now that we're seeing just from the knowledge articles and knowledge management and the service portal because of all of that. In addition to all that, then we got to take them another step further with chat into ServiceNow, especially starting off with the virtual agent, and then moving more towards we got web chat analysts that were also using the web chat features in there as well. And I mean, this allowed the agents to take on 2, 3, 4 different chat support rather than a single calls where you have just one person, one customer at a time. We got to see all of that, and in measuring all of that, again, we're talking 15,000 engagements to be able to do that on a monthly basis. Again, driving the calls even further down as well. So those are 2 areas that we were able to help take them through the next level, the next steps in their ITSM journey, and we're continuing to do so in other areas as well.
So I know a number of us out there, obviously thank you for that, John, and I know a number of us out there, we start to dive in with our customers, we talk about their need, we talk about how they can better interface across their ecosystem and how to make their lives easier. And a lot of what we do is what John's talking about, where we're dealing with a portal or some self-service function. But depending upon what agency you work with, there's also a number of areas where we wouldn't traditionally think to position the platform at the moment. And I want to dive a little bit deeper in the modernization and saying, while we'd like to solve everything with this virtualized experience or with Now Assist or being able to chat with a bot or one of those things, how can we modernize and help the in-person experience leveraging ServiceNow?
So Mac, I think for us, this is really relevant with the return to office mandate as well. But a few years ago, we had a lot of customers come to us asking, how can you help re-envision the in-person IT customer experience? They really came to us with the same 3 challenges, right? We've got post-COVID facility consolidations with higher concentration of the workforce. We want to reduce IT spend, and they want to bring forth some new capabilities for supporting customers. With that, we brought to them the Genius Bar, right? You've seen them, Geek Squad. We branded them as technology cafes, things like that. And for us, we would go into the customer, we look at their people, their process, the tool, right? And in general, it's not a people person. They've got the technicians who can do the work. They've got the processes to do it. But they don't have a tool to actually help manage that in-person customer experience. So for us, we looked at ITSM platforms, what tools would integrate with ticketing systems, and ultimately settled on the ServiceNow walk-up experience. And really what this allowed us to do is, with customers who are coming on site, bottom line, sometimes they don't want to, call the service desk or deal with a virtual agent. They want to go up, walk to a person, get their issue fixed, their request fulfilled right away. And so for us, in deploying this capability for several customers now, a customer is able to walk up to a kiosk, quickly log in, allows us to measure the interaction. and get support right away. Or if there's a line, they get queued up, or they can schedule their time for an appointment whenever it's convenient for them. So, the big savings that we saw for our customers is between a 10 and 15% reduction in labor, because we're able to consolidate that labor together, and higher customer satisfaction scores, because frankly, people were like, oh, I'm on site, I can get service right away. Like, that's great. So I think this is something we'll continue to see with return to office and a demand for cost cutting.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. So obviously, throughout this process, we've now talked about the customer journey and what that looks like. So we've tried to support their virtual needs. We've tried to engage them at the level of consolidating through siloed, ticketing systems and the way that they approve services, how their customers are interacting with them. We've done that at a virtual level where we know that we can apply AI, we can apply bots, we can use all of these things to satisfy people. But to Chris's point, when everybody, there's a lot of our customers that are returning to office, obviously, given the change of direction. So I think focusing on the in-person experience gives you another avenue to have that discussion as you try to, cross the border with your customer and understand where you can really drive value and modernization. It's hard to modernize the in-person experience. So I think what you guys are doing is kind of really good in the sense that it feels like a step back, but we're trying to move forward as we step back, because there's a lot of folks that are just getting used to back being in the office every single day and requiring various levels of support across the board. So how do you guys recommend that we can, that customers get started looking into this journey for the rest of this fiscal year with the changes that have gone on into 26?
So there was a line in the keynote that I wrote down that I liked it. It was siloed solutions don't allow you to maximize your ROI. And really what we like to do with customers, and which we recommend, is before you jump in buying something, right, we'll do envisioning sessions, right? We'll do a workshop, right? And we'll say, all right, what is your mission? What are your objectives? What are your goals? How do we measure those successes, right? So that could be anything from improving the accuracy of your asset management system, driving and shifting left services to reduce costs with your IT support. In understanding that vision that they have, there we go.
I got it.
In understanding that vision that they have, what we'll do with customers is we'll say, all right, let's document the next 15 or 20 project initiatives that will get you to that vision, right? This could be enhancing workflows. This could be deploying SAM, deploying HAM. Really anything that will help them align to what they've laid out in their vision. And what we do with them is we do a very basic rack and stack of value and benefit and feasibility assessments, right? And I think this is one of the big things that we've noticed with a lot of customers is making sure that you're targeting the highest value, highest benefit, and most easily feasible project at the beginning, right? So when we look at each of these projects, we'll assess, what's the user experience improvement that you're going to get from this project? What are the cost savings that you're going to get? What are the process efficiencies that you're going to get? And then we'll look at the feasibility of it. Do you have the staff to do this today? Do they have the technical acumen? Do you have the funding to do it? The cost of the product? And I think really, maybe even most importantly, is your organization ready to implement this product, right? Deploying something that doesn't get used, you're not going to maximize the value, obviously, of that product. So the envisioning workshop, racking and stacking these initiatives, we'll then lay it out into a roadmap, right? And we'll be able to find over the next 6, 12, and 18 months, what are the target priorities that you should focus on? We've talked about doing 3-year, 5-year roadmaps, but to be honest, the technology is changing every year. Fed form every year, there's a new product coming out, there's a new capability coming out, and budgets change every year. So we really focus on what you need to do now over the next 6 months, 12 months, and 18 to get things moving. The biggest priority that we've seen so far, especially with AI, is having a renewed focus on CMDB. And making sure that that data is normalized, that it's good data, so that when whatever AI tool you're going to be using you can actually maximize the value of that investment.
Perfect. So obviously we've talked At length around some of what we can do around the traditional sense. And I'm glad that you brought up AI because it's an important conversation to kind of start having. And while many of us in the room understand that it's in its kind of infancy phases across the federal space right now, folks are taking off bites of it as they can absorb it. They're trying to approach the topic in some cases with cautious optimism. In some cases, they want to dive right in and don't know how. And in other cases, they've brought on skilled resources that have strong backgrounds in the area. And, kind of as the folks that are working to solve the challenges with them along with the OEM community, we have to approach that in a way where we're knowledgeable, educated about it in ourselves. So obviously, with this stuff kind of in its infancy, what are some of the areas that we've targeted specifically with AI to help drive value?
I'll go ahead and take that one. It's actually an interesting question that you bring up. So for each one of my customers, and I have quite a few, it really depends on their priorities. And every customer has different priorities based on where they're at, whether it's efficiencies, whether we're going to be doing cost savings. It really just depends. And so you mentioned it earlier, Chris, how you're talking about how we do road mapping solution sessions. And we do that with AI, ServiceNow. And what we do is we take all their data that they have, lay it down, make sure that we have all their different products. And then sometimes it's very interesting when we go through this exercise, as the customer in some cases really don't even know that they're not leveraging all their different tools to the highest potential that they can. And so these are areas that we identify to make sure that we maximize this for them. And a lot of times it's at no cost to them. But here at CACI, is that something that we want to do to make sure we benefit our customers so that they can focus on other parts of their mission? Specifically for AI, one of the things that we've been able to do is for proactive IT management with AI, it's really important for our customers, right, to minimize downtime. And so for this particular AI capability, it has really benefited our customers. And then from an end user perspective, right, because we can't ever lose sight of the end users, that's something very important, is the virtual chat, right, the virtual agent. Is making sure, I know me specifically, to call the help desk is like, oh no, please, I don't want to have to call the help desk, right? So it's not, they could be the best, but I want to just resolve my issue as soon as humanly possible. And so the level of complexity that it's able to answer can get our customers back running as soon as humanly possible. And with that, another way that we've been able to leverage this as well is that with our technicians, when you hire new technicians, I think in the olden days, I guess if we want to call them the olden days, maybe it was last year or the year before, but we would have to, post a document somewhere, whether it's on Teams or SharePoint or whatever, but someone would have to find that document. And I don't know about you, but trying to find those documents is very, very difficult. So now we're able to upload those troubleshooting guides and with our specific, customer protocols, because even you could be the smartest agent of all time, but if you don't know how specifically a particular agency or customer needs to act, you're not going to know how to do that, right? And so this can easily, so you can go ahead, hey, I want to do some maintenance here. What are the steps to do that? They can easily just put it in the virtual chat, get the information they need, and be able to do what they need to do.
Perfect. So, I think that it's important when we talk about whether it's Now Assist and the areas of focus that we can do there, whether it's normalizing the data that's going on to the CMDB, the layer in which we're applying AI is a different discussion across the ecosystem. So, with machine learning and the various AI tools that are out there available, we have this opportunity to really normalize data before we approach it with whatever AI tool we're trying to lay on top of it. We all know that, the data that's in there, to Chris's point, really outlines what we're going to get back out of it. And the last thing that you want to do is have an AI discussion with your customer and then start to dig into the data. And then you find out that the data is not at a standard where the AI is really going to be helpful. It's going to be pumping out information that's unhelpful. So there's a number of different tools along the way that you're having this cohesive AI discussion across their entire portfolio, starting with the data side and ending with the client-facing or customer-facing Gen AI ServiceNow portion. At CACI, we're committed to kind of walking that journey with our customers, taking them through their paces as they move forward in that journey at a pace that they're comfortable with. And then obviously, we want to be able to set up and focus a lot of our efforts and talents around an AI practice that makes sense. So for us, when we're working with ServiceNow and we're discussing our own AI practice, building that out internally, we're really building it on the foundation of the requirements that are coming to us from the customer set that John and Chris and Serenity work with every single day. So the information that they get being on the ground and dealing with the current issues is invaluable across the organization for us as we kind of roadmap this out. So it sounds like you guys certainly have your hands full with a number of different challenges that we've kind of discussed today. For the customers in the room, what kind of advice would you guys give for customers that are maybe considering the ServiceNow journey, just starting the ServiceNow journey? Kind of walk us through from the customer perspective what that looks like.
So what my biggest advice is that you need to do it in a phased approach. You can't eat an elephant all in one bite. You have to take bites of it, each bite of it at a time, right? And so that is very important. It's also very important that you get all the stakeholders involved, from that customer to the contractor perspective. It's very important that everyone understands where you want to go and where you are going, because if you don't do that, it's not going to be successful, right? You have to make sure you have metrics in place to monitor your progress and making sure you tweak where it needs to be tweaked. And as you do that, it's going to make sure that you do this in a successful implementation. And so that would be my word of advice. Also, something that we offer here at CACI, we have a lot of programs that leverage ServiceNow, is making sure we get our customer smart people and our smart people in a room, right? Really kind of talk about our lessons learned and our best practices, right? So that even though every customer is different, there's a lot of similarities throughout the space that we can really leverage each and every single one of our contracts to make sure that we better them.
Chris, what about you?
So and I mentioned earlier about kind of the road mapping and envisioning, and I think that's really important to start out. Again, if you're focused on one product and not the larger journey, you're not going to get the investment that you want out of that product, right? One little plug I'm going to put out there for really the kind of the nitty gritty modernization and efficiency efforts that we're seeing now amongst customers. One is there's a lot of tools that integrate with ServiceNow on the ITSM side. They're going to help drive efficiencies that we've seen with driving ticket volume down, allowing to execute work faster, right? Beyond Trust, I don't know if they're here or not downstairs. They're a remote diagnostic tool that we use. Also, there's a few digital employee experience products that are out there now that are great in terms of being able to identify and execute remediation activities quickly that can help drive, again, services to the left. So these are, again, things that as you build your solution and your journey, it's not just looking at one ServiceNow product, but the ecosystem of tools that can help drive the most value.
John, any final thoughts?
I think we all have been in situations where we need to remain flexible and adaptable to the customer's needs, right? As Chris mentioned earlier, it's hard to roadmap years ahead. There's always a constant change. I think everyone follows the news. We're seeing constant changes today. Who knows what that's going to change the roadmap or even their immediate plans for a lot of different things, particularly when it comes to AI. I'll be honest, I don't know where we stand on some of these things with our customers, but we're ready to be adaptable and flexible to what they're looking to do at this point and continue to help them look for new solutions or new ways to approach things based on what their new normal is going to be, right? And that includes some of the tool sets as well. Maybe I'm sure you've seen this before too. Hey, they just bought this particular product. Now they want to see how to integrate it. Wait a minute. That's not what we recommended before, but okay, let's see how we're going to fit that in now and make use of that. Or it could be, last year we spent millions of dollars on this thing and we really want to get the maximum value out of that thing. Okay, great. Let's help you take a look at, is it producing the right data, information that we can integrate into all of these things? So, that's also how you help drive some of that value. But again, your flexibility in being able to adapt to all of those things, I think is going to be pretty key. So that's a pretty big part of all of this, and being able to assess and bring all this and be ready to change with them. So,
thank you guys so much for that. So obviously, we've kind of covered from our perspective with where we are right now in our government customer set, and that runs the gamut from FedCiv to DoD to, well, you know, we have all different kinds of deployments across our portfolio. And the needs are currently changing and constantly changing across, you know, that entire landscape. So as we move forward, I think that there's digestible chunks and areas where folks, particularly around the AI, could get involved early on. Tier 0 support is always a great one. You know, some of the low-hanging fruit type of areas where you feel pretty confident that you can put together a really nice opportunity for the customer to become more modernized, more efficient, save value, you know, save on particular headcount and other opportunities that are out there. But if we can do this in digestible chunks and the phased approach, as Serenity mentioned earlier in the discussion, and kind of focus our sales motion on, you know, what their needs currently are, where they want to go in their journey, how we can sort of support them along the way. It's more of a support motion than it is a sales motion. And I just think as we deal with the ever-changing landscape that we're going to see across the federal government in the coming months and probably all next fiscal year, until things settle down, we all have to be agile. We all have to work together. And we want to make sure that the folks in the room know what they're doing and are sort of a part of the value add across the board. So with that being said, that's all we have for today. I don't know if there's, you guys up for a couple questions? If there are any. These folks deal with the customers every day. Don't miss your chance. No? Okay.
Or customers in the audience.
Yeah, or customers that
All two
you
of
know
you.
want to know what these guys are up to, unless you're already working with them, in which case you know what they're about. Well, it sounds like that's it, guys. So I appreciate everybody's time. We'll give you a couple of minutes back here to go enjoy and finish up your lunch. But thank you for attending.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.